Welcome to the Compendium Podcast hosted by Leadership Books. In just a moment, our host, Joseph Baker, will be joining us, along with a very special guest. Before we get started, I would like to introduce you to Joseph. He's a podcaster, event producer, writer, speaker, and audience builder. His passion is to help authors, speakers, and entrepreneurs build their audiences to monetize their leadership. Won't you please welcome our host, Joseph Baker.
Well, welcome everyone to a very special episode of the Compendium Podcast. We are here capturing this episode live at NSA 2022 here in Nashville, Tennessee. And I am here today with Chuck Gallagher. Chuck is the founder of
Primo Productions.
Primo Productions. He's actually one of the vendors here, along with Leadership Books. And so we've been developing a relationship and seeing what kind of future possibilities might hold between our organizations. Chuck, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, listen, thank you so much. And I am so jazzed about you guys being here. I mean, talking with Mike and getting to know you, this is an amazing organization, and we appreciate it.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. I know you've been really busy at your booth, interacting with a lot of speakers,
Sure.
authors, consultants, thought leaders. I mean, really for all of us, both of us, this is the place to be. Right?
Oh, it is. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For professional speakers who have something to say, they need probably two things, well, outside of a great speech. They need a book.
Yes.
And they need incredible video.
Yes.
And in many cases, video connecting with the book really expands the opportunities for sales of not only the book, but their speaking.
Absolutely. I don't know if this data is still accurate or not, but I understand that sometimes even having a video can increase sales by 1,000% on a landing page. Are you still seeing data like that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, in reality, especially for those of us that are speakers, if you don't have video, they can't see you. And
absolutely.
People aren't going to come to your event just to hear you, so video is the operative opportunity.
Yes, and as an event planner, you want to see visually what is someone going to look like on stage, because a large percentage of communication is visual.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Visual, how do you look? How do you interact with the audience? What do you have to say? How does that land?
Yes.
Because the meeting planner's job hinges on how well you do and deliver.
Yes. Give us a practical example, a real life example of somebody that you've helped. You don't have to name names if you don't want to, but give us a real case study of a client that you've worked with.
Okay. So there's a gentleman by the name of Stephen Shapiro. He's written a book called Invisible Solutions. Now, Stephen has the uncanny ability to take a problem and ask a question in a different way.
Nice.
Now, Stephen wrote the book, has the audio book, but we created what's referred to as a video book, which most people scratch their head and say, what is that? But functionally, we recorded the entirety of his book and then brought it to life.
Yes.
So people could actually see what he was talking about. So it connects the audio, I can hear it.
Yes.
The visual, I can see it, read the words.
Yes.
But the visual of, I can actually see it on a screen. So if he's talking about baggage claim, then people can see that coming to life.
Yeah.
That changed not only the trajectory of sales for his book, but it created new opportunities for him to be able to deliver that in ways that, as only an author, and I'm an author, I can't do the same things that he's able to do because of the different product.
Sure. That's great. And what has that, capturing that video, what has that done for Stephen as far as you can tell?
Well, it changed the dynamic of the conversation with his consulting. So it elevated the consulting that he does, and it gave the opportunity to use that video in places that, perhaps couldn't afford the full consulting package. There was another option that was available to the organization. So it created the virtual ability for Stephen to be in a place when in reality it was pre-recorded.
Yes. If you had to identify your ideal avatar, that person who would really benefit from your services with Primo Productions, describe that person.
Well, let me answer that question two ways. We tend to have two types of clients. We have the corporate client, which is, I want to train my people, I want to train the organization. I'm not trying to be funny with this statement, but it might be the fast food franchise this is the way we want to cook chicken.
Sure.
Okay? And we create that process for them.
Got it.
The other, which is more connected to what we talk about, would be the professional speaker, the author, the person that is a thought leader that has content they want to communicate, and they need a book trailer, or they need an audio book, or like Stephen, they decide they want to go for a video book and expand the offerings in a broader way.
Yes, that's great. That's great. So great to be able to interview you here in person, which, by the way, is so rare, right? So many interviews are Zoom now.
Oh, yeah.
They're online.
Oh, yeah.
So another advantage of being in a physical location at an event like this is to be able to interact and actually do things like this, to actually, communicate and network with people like you.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Well, the world we're in, Zoom's never going to go away. It may change. It may be another product, but
Sure.
That's never going to completely go away. But to be able to interact in person, to be able to engage, to be able to talk with people, it might be easy for me to have connected with your organization and Mike via Zoom.
Sure.
But to be able to actually sit down and talk helps solidify the understanding of what it is that you offer.
Yes.
and the value that's there.
Yes, absolutely. If you had to give one piece of advice to our author, speaker, thought leaders that are listening to this when it comes to video and marketing, what would you say?
The first thing is identify what problem you solve. So many people think of video as a showcase of them, and the person watching it is not as concerned about you being showcased as what benefit you bring to them.
Yes.
So if you can laser focus, this is the problem that I solve,
Yes.
and communicate that in video, that will support the larger expanse of the book.
Yes.
And the potential to bring you in as a speaker.
Yes. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Chuck, for joining us on this special episode of the Compendium Podcast. For those of us that are listening and watching, if they want to connect with you and your business, how would they find you?
Well, it's pretty easy. Chuck at Primo, Primeau Productions.com. So Chuck at PrimoProductions.com. Would love to talk with you. And again, major supporter of your organization. I look forward to becoming an author with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thanks again for listening and watching. Check us out, leadershipbooks.com, Chuck at PrimoProductions.com, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Thank you for joining us for today's broadcast. I do hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And be sure to visit us online at leadershipbooks.store. There you'll find the works of some of the finest thought leaders today. And be sure to tune in here each week to gain even deeper insights from one of those leaders on the Compendium Podcast.